Hey guys, this is James from Man Tripping, and we are here to the Men Who Blog virtual tasting. This time we are here tasting tequila. We got Prospero Tequila is our sponsor tonight. They have brought us. I just did that in bad order. They got the Blanco, you got the Reposado, and we got the Anejo, which I did that order. How about that? Well, anyhow, you know what? I have been sampling this a little bit. This stuff is really, really good. For those of you who aren't familiar with tequila, aren't familiar with really what tequila's tasting is outside of that unfortunate weekend or spring break week in Cancun, you don't remember. This is not that kind of tequila. This is really good tequila that's designed for sipping. Think of this like your fine scotch. Think of this like your fine whiskey. It is really, really good, but that doesn't mean we can't do some cocktails too. So we've got some representatives from the brand here, including Simone Rubio, who is an awesome mixologist from a bar and restaurant in Orange County. She'll be talking. Kirk will be talking. But first, let's introduce John Bailey, who from Two Dads with Baggage, and then we'll go to Mike from Gentleman Racer and Tom from Bourbon Blog.
Hey guys, I'm excited to be here. I have a blog called Two Dads with Baggage, and I write about family, travel, and food, and cocktails, and not cocktails and family, but cocktails and adults, and just lifestyle stuff. So I'm excited because I love tequila, and I have a little bit of experience in drinking it, but I know I'm going to learn a lot today. So I'll throw it over. Thanks. Good to be here.
I'm Mike with thegentlemanracer.com, and I do a lot of automotive lifestyle travel as well as alcohol stories, just about different types of drinks, and mainly around my travels. And my kind of introduction to tequila happened just last year on a trip to Mexico, where I actually took a tequila class where they taught us a lot about tequila. Forgotten most of it, but I really do enjoy a good sipping tequila, so I'm looking forward to this tonight.
Hey, I'm Tom Fisher, founder of bourbonblog.com. We talk about bourbon and whiskey, and we have for about 15 years, but we also review great spirits like these, and I'm always glad to join all of you and James and the folks from Men Who Blog. And I also do a nightly show too, usually run Sunday through Thursday on bourbonblog.com/live. Also broadcasted here on Men Who Blog. So this is exciting, and this is good stuff. I've already had a sip.
Right on.
So, Kirk, tell us a little bit about, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. Maybe if I was completely sober, I'd be able to pronounce it correctly, or maybe my little buzz would allow me to pronounce it better, but I'm sure you can tell us exactly how it's pronounced.
It gets much more fun out after a little bit of Clyde Mays Alabama style whiskey. The company name is Conecuh Brands, and it is named after the Conecuh Ridge area where one of your guests from last month is from. LC May and the Clyde Mays brand. So that's really where it comes from. Our company, to give us a little bit of a company plug, we represent fast-growing brands with great stories, great history, great heritage from around the great categories. We started with Clyde Mays whiskey. We've gone into Prospero Tequila, which we'll talk a lot about today. And James and John, as we were talking about before the show started, we've also ventured into Irish whiskey as well, with reviving the oldest Irish whiskey brand on record called McConnell's Irish Whiskey. But tonight we'll focus on Prospero, and with that I'll lead into one of the great mixologists for our company. She's actually a contest winner with Clyde Mays. Thank you very much for that, Simone. And I will introduce Simone and let you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Simone Rubio. As Kirk said, I'm super excited to be here and talking to you about a super awesome tequila brand such as Prospero. A little bit about me. I work in Corona del Mar in beautiful Southern California. We're right by Newport Beach, and I run the lead bar with my manager downstairs, which is a speakeasy style bar, about 15 seats. And our focus is craft cocktails, fresh ingredients, seasonally driven. And then since we are such a tiny operation down there, we really get to sit down with each individual guest, explain to them what's special about the spirits that they're drinking, and kind of work with them to understand their palate more and give them a very crafted experience.
And great cocktails.
Great, of course.
So are you an ambassador then with LC May too?
I am not.
Or Clyde Mays? Okay. You just won the contest.
I did. It was fun. It was good.
So-
we
so-
did a curry
Uh,
cocktail, and then we used the 115 rye, if I remember correctly.
The 110 proof actually
110.
special reserve. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It was
I'm
good
sure
stuff.
that's awesome. For those of you guys who didn't
Sounds
tune
good.
in, God, it seemed like it was supposed to be last week. I know we were supposed to do this back to back, but there was a little bit of disruption in America.
Right.
But anyhow, definitely look at the Menu Blog Facebook page. Look on the live videos because it's in there. It was a great time with Clyde Mays Alabama style whiskey. You know, Kirk, you guys have some great brands. I really appreciate what you're doing as far as finding heritage brands and bringing them back, as well as not just like there's a lot of companies I feel like that are buying brands like, oh, this is undervalued, ha 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 ha, and they just squeeze it out. But I feel like you guys are really breathing new life into it as opposed to just looking at it as a license to wring the life out of.
I think the where our industry's come is people want authenticity. They want that great history, that great heritage, and when the juice can back it up in the bottle and back up that heritage, it certainly makes my job very easy. So without a doubt, and that's one of the things that we've really searched for is that great authenticity, and also the great juice. And actually you gave me a great segue right into the tequila, James. Thank you very much.
Hey, well,
And we'll get back to LC because I certainly want to talk about the Mays family a little bit as well. But this is I think with the stories you get away from all the as we've been talking about the weekend in Cancun and all those kind of things. That's certainly the connotation that tequila has. It's that woohoo, let's go party, kind of item. But with the 100% agaves coming up and what's happening, man, the cocktails are so great. It's a great, something great to play around with instead of whiskey or instead of rums and, some different things like that, which are absolutely killer, I think.
Cool. Well, on behalf of tequila lovers around the country, thank you for doing what you do, because I didn't realize that tequila was as sophisticated as it can be. And just like there's shit whiskey out there that $9 bottle stuff that people just drink to get drunk, and hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not going to tell you no, but I hate hearing, oh, I don't do tequila because it makes me have a terrible headache. Okay, well, if you drink bad orange juice or bad milk, it's going to hurt you too.
Tequila makes me crazy. Like, I can't drink it because I go insane. Well, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, like if you have 10 shots in a row, I would expect that any alcohol would make you a little crazy.
Especially with a guy with a whistle blowing it in your ear.
And you're drinking it
shaking your
upside
head.
down, right? And shaking your head. Yeah.
So
Absolutely get it. But I also think we've gotten into, we've gotten away from the mixtos so much here in the U.S. We've gotten to 100% agave. You get to find the better things, right? And, just as we know with any product, if you've got a great base product, it's going to react with you much better. Right. Which to me is absolutely fantastic. And if you go back, a few years ago, we had an awful lot of mixto that was on the market. A lot of brands that were only 51% agave were the cornerstone of the market. Now you look at it, the number, all the top brands are 100% agave, and they're bringing up all their best stuff. And now it's, how do we sit down and drink this? Right? How do we really enjoy this? Because, everybody loves a good margarita and everybody loves to party and have a great time. But at the end of the day, let's sit down and have a cocktail and have a conversation. Let's make this what it really is, which is social. Right. And that's the great thing to me about agave is it's a social lubricant that kind of makes everybody, hey, let's get a little bit happy and let's have a conversation.
And in defense of some of the brands that I'm not going to name the brands here because I'm just not going to. But in defense of some of the other brands, including very big ones, they have been known for making crap stuff. But the reality is the stuff that they make themselves and that they actually enjoy drinking themselves, they are able to create some of the best expressions of tequila out there. It's an American consumer problem, I think, as much as anything. That we thought we wanted some some $9, $8 bottles of crap that get us really drunk when we were on spring break, and now we're sitting there. I'm not sure the price point is, but it's a quality product that is not a spring break kind of whistle shot kind of stuff. So, with all that being said, I'm more interested in actually trying some of this. I had a little bit earlier, but I'm sure with Simone and you walking us through it, you can open up some of the nuances that I missed. But before I do that, I definitely want to give a shout out to the fact that I think you may have I can't remember her name, but is she the only master distiller in the tequila industry right now, or she one?
Yeah, she's one of the first female master distillers. And when we started this brand, we built this brand from the ground up, and we partnered with the Orendine family in order to build this beautiful tequila. And Stella Anguiano has been with them 15 plus years, and it's probably a lot more than that. And she's really built her career and what she's doing now on the fact that she's a female master distiller, and there's great ladies that are in the tequila category that are just now starting to come to the forefront, right? And it's pretty much, as we all, as some of us know, it's been a fairly male-dominated, world with the ladies sitting in the background, and that's one of the reasons that we partnered with Stella and the Orendines, and also with Rita Ora, is to bring up that, that female side of this, to say, hey, look at these great people that are making great tequilas, these great ladies, right? And, Stella is one of those wonderful people that she wants to make tequila. She doesn't necessarily want to do the tours over in the U.S. and worldwide and those things. She wants to, she wants to be there nurturing, her tequilas and making sure they're still the best in the world.
Well, I think that's great. And I feel bad saying, a female distiller, like female scientist kind of thing, because the reality is I'm really excited to see what different palates and different experiences are able to create. It's the same way a guy who grew up in Scotland versus a guy who grew up in Argentina is going to have a different experience. So enough talking. Let's start drinking.
So what we did, what you have in the first bottle, and thank you for saying that, James, because I was getting thirsty. We've got in the first bottle. This is our Prospero Blanco, right? This is 100% blue agave, made off of the agave fields that the Orendines actually own. Stella does this, no age whatsoever to this whatsoever. So I will let you taste it, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about what some of the flavors are. I don't want to predisposition you with some of the flavors that I may find in it.
So what's the proper way to taste this?
I taste this exactly as we do whiskey, right? But I also take it one step further. For a lot of people, I like to get the aromas and see how they open up. As you'll see, I'm using the whiskey glass, which I think is a great taster for everything. Always about the aroma, and then you come back and you do the taste. The one thing I find, though, and I think you guys will probably agree with some of the people that don't taste all the time, they stick their nose in the glass, they take a big whiff in through their nose, burn all those sensors that are in their nose, right?
Yeah.
So I always.
I love doing that.
Yes, but you're an ultra professional, Tom. So I always try to explain to consumers: stick your nose in the glass and then breathe in through your mouth. You get all the same nuances and everything we taste is wrapped up in that aroma.
Yeah.
Very smooth.
Yeah, very smooth.
Anybody want to throw out any flavors? Little pepper.
Yeah. There's some nice undertones of like vanillas, fairly creamy. Maybe even a little more honeyed than some blancos. It is very smooth. It's very soft, and it's well balanced.
Thank you. I like the honey descriptor.
Yeah, just a little touch of that kind of a honeyed vanilla almost.
It does have a sweetness to it, doesn't it, Tom?
I
was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does really have a nice, sweet, smooth flavor going down. There's no aftertaste too. That's kind of I have that bite at the end, which it's nice. It's just it doesn't kind of tapers off. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the mouthfeel for how smooth it is, and like you were saying, the sweetness. It's very light, goes down easily done sipping or beautifully in a cocktail. Definitely something I grab in the bar a lot when people ask me for a spicy margarita or anything like the kind. I usually lead them towards this, or if they don't want to do Patron shots or something, I usually introduce them to this awesome Blanco.
One of the other things that we always get in the discussion as well is that, to really, in my opinion, to really rate a tequila and how the Reposado and the Anejo and the extra Añejos may be is always based off this Blanco, right? Because more distilleries than not are taking this, putting this into the barrel to go through the aging process. So if you got a great Blanco or something that fits really well in your palate, the Reposado and the Añejos will probably fit on your palate as well. The great thing about this is we get into a little bit of the sales pitch. 93 points from the Ultimate Spirits Challenge, 94 points from Distiller. So we've gotten some absolutely great ratings on this Blanco lately as well. So,
hey, Kirk,
and there's the website.
I have a question. So, is it true that all tequilas are mezcals, but are all mezcals are not tequilas, or is it the other way around?
It is the other way. It is the other way around. So, all tequila is mezcal because it's made out of blue agave. All mezcals are not tequilas, right?
Because of geography?
No, because part of
it's
it
different
is geography.
Plants.
Yeah, and the different plants, right? So you can only use blue agave for the tequila, but you can use, I think there's 40 or 50 that you can actually use for mezcal, right? Doesn't matter where they're really grown. The other side with tequila is it's 5 states. The major state is Jalisco, but it's the 4 other states that are around there. There's a brand that comes out of Guanajuato that is absolutely fantastic and is very traditional. But most of what we see here on the tequila is coming out of Jalisco.
Now, one thing that I also really like about this one is that the nose is really nice and floral, and some tequila, the mass market tequilas, I think are a little bit more sedate. This one has a really nice floral nose to it. Somebody told me at one point that's like, I can't remember if it's the Highland tequilas versus lowland tequilas or more floral, but that's kind of where my nerdiness stopped. So
there you go. You're getting into the 2%ers there, so it's all good. For my palate, I get more of that floral on the lowland tequilas, and I get more of those. I pick up more vegetable flavors and in a very, very good way on the stuff that's on the floor, and a whole different flavor of a lot more of the black pepper and the spicy up on the Highland. So, do you agree with that, Simone?
I prefer Highlands just because they're a little bit more fruity. The agave's a lot more complex just because the climate's a lot different. So the agave's getting kind of nursed out there. But I definitely prefer a Highland tequila, but I like all tequila. I'm definitely not picky, but definitely the lowlands are going to be a little more vegetal, I'd say, for me.
But I think it gets interesting, James, because everybody wants to talk about lowlands versus Highlands. And the reality is it's just like anything we drink. Find the one you like and drink it.
Exactly.
But I think it's interesting because in wine and even in beer now with hops, we're getting into the fancy French word, the appellation or whatever it is. But I feel like with tequila, it hasn't quite reached that point. But at the same time, I feel like the complexity exists there, and the sophistication is reaching the point where I would find a tequila with agave from this region, I would probably find another brand and explore that region again, as opposed to, John, you may prefer something completely different and like that region. But I'm a nerd, so.
We like nerds. Nerds are good.
Yes, we do.
Besides that, what are the other notes you all get on this, or the notes that you have a lot of consumers get on this whenever they tell you?
The biggest thing that comes back to us in this Blanco is the surprise of how smooth the finish is.
Yeah.
That's what everybody says. And, oh, wow, I had no idea this was going to be that smooth, because they're used to that, just as we talked, that tequila, I call it the tequila bite at the end, right?
Exactly.
Usually with tequila, man, you're drinking tequila when that thing hits your palate and goes down, then you go, oh,
Exactly.
So, but that's, I think people are trying to bring out the honey, Tom, flavor. And, I will pick up vanillas. I will also pick up different things depending on what I've had to eat that day, right? As we know, food obviously influences everything. And, if it's the first thing I've been drinking, it's different than if I've been drinking for a couple hours, as well. So,
even if you keep this tequila in your mouth and I don't always do this, but on aged spirits, if you keep it in your mouth 4, 5, 7, 8 seconds, you're going to have more things open up. For this Blanco, if you keep this in your mouth for 4, 5, 7 seconds, I mean, you can really, I get more of that black pepper like you're talking about and some of that spice, which I wouldn't do with just any Blanco. I think this actually really opens up if you keep it in the mouth. It's nice.
Now, what is the price point on here? Is it
running about $32?
That's not bad at all.
No, it's not bad at all.
Not very expensive. For
And
you
Kirk,
guys,
I was asking you earlier, like available. Where can you get it?
we have just become available nationwide. For you guys in California and actually in Texas, Total Wine has it. On the West Coast, Bevmo has it. Some of our grocery stores have it. Some of our finer retailers have it. You can pick it up on the Prospero Tequila website. We've got a buy now button. It'll take you out to Reserve Bar. Reserve Bar will ship it anywhere for you. To get it all out there, it'll probably be a little more than $32.99 off a Reserve Bar. But so we and I'll take it a step further. We will open up England in the next 2 to 3 weeks because that's where where Rita Ora, our celebrity partner, is, and we can talk more about her as we go through this as well. And we just sent 2 containers to Australia, so we're truly an international brand at this point.
Aussies are gonna love it. Those containers are gonna go fast.
Yeah. So it's their market down there is incredible. So, but I think we really, when we launched last year, John, we really focused really on California, on Texas, on Arizona, on a few places that were really the key tequila markets that where, obviously it's no mystery in those states. It's summer all the time, mostly, tequila, something good. So, but yeah, so anyway, so that's where you can find it. And, I will, James, the guys can hit us up on ProsperoTequila.com if they're looking for it and somebody doesn't have it. So, all right, we'll make sure they get it. So, anybody want to taste some Reposado?
And apparently, you just like during the Clyde Mays tasting, you were out there blowing stuff up, but now you've got LC blowing your stuff up. So you must have honestly, you must have a great company where you guys are all enjoying each other across the brands.
We have a great time, and when you have beautiful brands and great people to deal with. We've got wonderful people like Simone that we get to deal with every single day. You know what? You have a lot of fun, and that's that's really what it's all about, right? Don't we do this stuff because we want to have fun?
That's
yeah.
why I show up to work.
So I always have to ask when I see people blowing stuff up, is Allie one of your plants too?
No,
or is she just a huge fan?
Just a huge fan. Thank you for loving Prospero.
That's awesome.
So without a doubt. So on to the next one, which is
and thank you, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Michael. So the Prospero Reposado. Now this one is, as we know, Reposados have to be aged for 2 months, right? Up to 364 days, right? We're averaging about 4 months on this right now. Is what we're doing with this. So 100% blue agave. This is the Blanco. Aged for that about 3 to 4 months time frame that we're in there. One thing while you guys are looking at that, I wanted to show you guys this bottle because this bottle's absolutely hand blown, right? And if you set this on a table, it will wobble like it's hand blown, right? We have a glass factory where our CEO who did our packaging for us, Roy Danis, found a factory in, of all places, Sinaloa. Right, in order to blow our bottles. So they hand blow the bottles every single day. And with what we're doing, blowing up Prospero, they're blowing an awful lot of bottles right now. So, which is great.
Thank you to Mr. Bottle Blower.
Yep, absolutely. So cheers.
This is good. This is
and thank you to Stella too, of course.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you to Stella for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's almost so good that you wouldn't want to mix it into a cocktail. You just would want to drink it this way, right?
Yeah. That's the beauty of this line is that they're standalone, very strong, but if you're in the mood for something a little different, maybe a little citrus, they're also beautiful in any cocktail, truly. Let's see, the Repo's my second favorite. The Anejo is going to be my favorite because it's the most complex, but there's still those like subtle notes of like vanilla and like light floralness on like the back of the palate, and then like the piquant pepper at the very end, which is very nice for Reposado.
There's even now. Did you say earlier, Simone, that you had made a cocktail from Prospero that had curry in it? Is that? Did I misunderstand that?
That was for Clyde Mays. It was the whiskey cocktail with a homemade curry cordial that I made from scratch.
That sounds good. I don't know if it was just hearing the word curry, but
yeah,
I get a tiny bit of like of an Indian spice, maybe like a turmeric on this. I mean, a really subtle, Do you know what I mean? Like a really subtle curry, like a really subtle kind of like exotic spice, like a curry on this. I get a tiny touch of that on the end of it, just surprised that barrel really coming up through the vanillas and some of the things in the Blanco. I think it's a really interesting Reposado. I think it's very, very complex and delicate.
It might be crossing cultures, but you know what tastes really good with this is like a Jamaican jerk fish or something, or like a goat curry or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Like not a super hot like a London style Indian curry, but something kind of like a Caribbean jerk kind of.
Or like lamb biryani with like the rice and the cardamom and star anise.
Now you're making me hungry.
I know.
I love that. That's great. And you know, Simone's fantastic because even with our other lines with the Clyde Mays, I mean, there was a beautiful rye cocktail that you made that I think had turmeric in it as well, if I'm not mistaken.
It had ginger.
Was it ginger? Okay.
No, ain't that a kick in the head?
Yeah.
It was pressed. It was pressed ginger, turmeric, and cayenne pepper. It was basically a highball, but with additional like juices to make it a little bit fresher, and it was really good.
Do you
so
have
she's got
photos?
A great creative palette, which is awesome.
Do you have high-res photos of that? I would love to. That sounds like a really fun recipe to share.
We actually do.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some of them, and actually Laura's got them too, James. So she can shoot them over. So get all those done. So I pick up a lot of wood on the finish of this, right? From the bourbon barrels that we're using to age this, you know, and those things. You know, absolutely agree with all the comments that you guys have made about this. And, you know, this is one that, you know, I probably use this more for my simple cocktails, you know, at home. I do a Prospero ranch water with it, you know, which is really simple, just the tequila, the lime, and a top of Topo Chico. So, and that's really all it is. So, and it's the problem is that you can't have, it's like a Lay's potato chip. You can't have just one.
It just goes down so easy. So good.
So, but you know, I really like the Reposado. I'm anxious to get to the Anejo and have you guys taste that. The Anejo is 14 months on wood. Before we released the brand 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years in December. Wine Enthusiast gave us a 97-point rating, and we were one of their top 100 spirits of the year last year, which was tremendous. So, and I'll back up for just a second. The Reposado is running about $36 to $37.99, and we're running about $42.99 on the Anejo.
Oh wow!
So so we're not not in this outrageous price range. So, which I think is great.
And Tom, I always like to give you a shout out because I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank you. That's why whiskey glass. Thank you very much.
I got to get me one of those, Tom. So we'll have to talk about it.
Make sure we get you a wine whiskey glass. Absolutely.
Wow, that's really good and really different than what we just tasted.
Yeah,
that's very, very good.
It's really complex. Who said complex before? Was that you, Kirk? But
Simone.
But
I think it was me.
There's a lot of different flavors here. It's like fresh. Like I don't know. Like I just taste a lot of like fresh ingredients, like leaves or something. You know.
Just when you think it's going to disappear, you catch another layer that pops in.
Yeah. It's just so luscious, like just how it kind of dissipates on the palate and where it kind of spreads like on your like taste buds is just, it's so good. And a lot of añejos I find, I don't know what they're putting in them or what they're making it or putting in there to make it taste like vanilla, but sometimes I'll have an añejo and I don't mind a sweeter añejo, but it's just a vanilla bomb sometimes. And this one is just, again, so beautifully light while still being like luxurious to have like sip straight. I do like this one like as unadulterated as possible, but I do like them in Manhattans or old fashions if you're looking for a little bit different of a flavor profile for a nightcap.
Oh, wow. So you might use this in an old fashioned then.
I love
yeah.
an old fashioned made with tequila.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, and
So good.
just a little twist makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a little bit expression of the essential oils to bring out, like usually orange I'd like to use. You could use lime too. It's really good though.
It's interesting because the citrus, I'm picking up a citrus today on the nose that I usually don't pick up. So, which is really nice. I mean, it's a nice aroma.
It's slightly, there's a little bit of a tropical meets like spicy to it. There's some of that nice spicy pepper, almost like a jalapeno or something like that, but some tropical notes with that barrel, and maybe even a touch of like milk chocolate at the end. It really cleans up nicely. It lingers, but it has a nice creamy kind of milk chocolate finish.
Yeah.
It's good. They're all three really good, and they all
They're all very good. Yeah, they're all very different. Yeah.
And again, they're all the same recipe, right?
They are. Yeah.
But aged at different ages, right? All the
Thank
same.
you. Yeah, just different.
Same.
That's the only difference is just the age statement on them.
So,
So
how long is this one
18
aged?
months can do.
this one has been about 14 months.
Or 14 months. Okay.
Yeah. So we're just a little bit over what the limit is.
Because if this was an unaged, as you know, if this was an unaged whiskey, unaged bourbon, there wouldn't, I don't think, be as much. There would be some change, but after 14 months, there might not be enough change to really make it as interesting. These have really evolved nicely.
Right. Yeah. I'm excited about it, and it'll be interesting to see if Stella has any of these sitting in the barrel that we can look at in another couple of years to see what this would taste like as an extra añejo. Right?
So just like I find that with like the longer they're aging it, you get like more of those notes of like cooked agave. And if you've ever had cooked agave, it's pretty much a life-changing experience. It's those notes of meat and savory and umami that you're getting that like almost seems like it wants to be paired with something peppery. And I'm pretty sure that's a cooked agave because it's just slow roasted. It has a lot of sugar, so it kind of caramelizes itself, but it doesn't do it to the point where it impacts the flavor of this, like overwhelmingly vanilla or sugar. So I just really love this añejo. I keep it at my house. Usually this is my go-to. Well, because they have it at Vaughn's by my house, which is like a blessing in disguise. I'm like, every time I'm there, I'm like, oh, well, got to re-up. It's time.
Simone, I might know a guy for you.
I know guy.
So, John, you know what I'm dreaming of right now? Remember remember those chocolate clams on the beach and the bonfire, the roasted
in Loretto?
Clams?
Loretto. Yeah.
Wouldn't this be the perfect tequila to be capping that night? That meal
Yeah,
off?
so in Loretto, they have this dish that they're famous for. They're chocolate clams. It's not chocolate, the flavor. The clams are like chocolate colored, and they roast them in a pit in the sand, and then they serve them with this kind of mustard sauce. And I've never had anything like it, but you're absolutely right, James. This would taste amazing. Just that and this. I mean, those two things would just go beautifully. Mustard is, I don't know if we're just like, someone says a word and all of a sudden I'm tasting it, but there is kind of a little bit of a mustard to this.
I like it.
Now, Kirk, with the barrel, is there different things they do to the barrels or are the barrels just all fresh, brand new barrels? It's just the age entirely.
Yeah, what is common with tequilas, as you may or may not know, is they buy the bourbon barrels from us here in the U.S. And use those to age the reposados and the añejos. I don't believe we're doing anything else to the barrels other than just putting the juice in them. I believe there's probably some distilleries that are maybe doing a rechar on them or charring them even heavier for a little darker flavor. But I believe we're getting the barrels down. We're putting the Blanco right into the barrels and then letting them sit for the appropriate amount of age. So it's big business for the bourbon industry to sell those barrels off to tequila.
So are you taking them from Clyde Mays and keeping them still in the family, or how are you?
We haven't gotten to that point yet. I think that's a down the road project that we will end up doing. That is what we're doing. The Orendines being the family that they are, and and one of the founding families, I think, of tequila. They've got a very large operation, that they will. I'm sure they're negotiating and dealing with an awful lot of the distilleries that are here in the U.S. that if we were ever to get a list from them, you guys would probably know most of them. So I would say.
On the subject of the bourbon being used in tequila, so I know a lot of times you're seeing like sherry barrels being used for scotch and that kind of stuff. Has anybody done anything with that with tequila, with taking different types of whiskey or different kinds of wine and just playing with the palate a little bit?
Most of that is. Go ahead, Simone.
Oh, because we just got a new order in from Patron, and it's a very high end tequila. It's their Bordeaux, and they're aging it in Bordeaux wine barrels from France, and it has a slight like reddish mahogany hue to it. Again, really smooth, subtle notes of vanilla and cinnamon, really good. But I usually see it on higher end tequilas is where they're like taking the time to really think about the flavors that they could develop if they source it from like other spirits or whiskeys.
Well, cheers to innovation, because innovation is good for everybody.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Salute.
Cheers.
So, Simone, while we're having this wonderful conversation, because I love, this is what I love about tequila, right? Everybody's got a smile on their face. Everybody's having a good time talking.
That's right.
We're a little warm. We're a little warmer. It's good.
Exactly. And I immediately go to, okay, what's our next go-to cocktail, right? So if you guys are up for it, I know Simone's got a couple of cocktails that she's kind of prepared for us to kind of walk us through.
That sounds great.
Yeah. All right. So for everyone who's like making this along with me, we're just going to start with our hibiscus tea cordial. So you just brew a cup of hot water with your tea. You can let it sit. It'll change colors pretty fast. I just use regular tea bags. And then you're just going to, however much water you added, you're just going to add equal amount sugar, stir it, and then there's your cordial, and it lasts in your fridge for about a week or two. If you'd like it to last a little bit longer, you just add a little splash of Blanco tequila, and that should stabilize it for a month.
That's a good trick.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't like a little tequila in their cordials? Nothing wrong with that. So first, we're going to be doing a fan favorite here in CDM. It is a spicy hibiscus margarita. Hibiscus, growing up, I didn't really know what it was because my family called it Jamaica, and it's like this drink that it's like a punch, basically. And I use tea bags today just because that's easier to source, but this is going to be what the Jamaica or the dried hibiscus flowers look like. And you could use this to brew it as well, too. It rehydrates pretty much the same. And it's got a great flavor. It's very juicy, I like to say. It's not like exactly berry. I'd say it's more ripe stone fruit, like plum, and then like definitely a little acidic tang at the end when you use it. So I like to pair it with tequila because I think it balances everything out. So first thing that's going to go in the shaker tin is going to be some jalapeno, serrano peppers, whatever you have. I'm using serrano just because that's what we have at work. If you don't want to add spicy, if you're a little bit more inclined to have it on the sweeter side, just take out the seeds and you should be pretty okay. And then we're going to be muddling 2 drinks today. This one's the first one. If you're ever muddling any spice or like fruit or mint, always add your sugar immediately after you've muddled it, because then all those oils that you just released on that cocktail can now immediately be absorbed into the sugar and incorporate that flavor into your cocktail. So for the hibiscus cordial, we're going to put about 3/4 if you like it like pretty balanced, maybe a tad on the sweeter side. If you're more of a skinny margarita person, I'd recommend putting probably about 1/2 ounce. And then this is going to be met with 1 ounce of lime juice. And then 2 ounces of our wonderful Blanco tequila. All this gets loaded into a shaker tin. I am here.
How much Blanco?
2 ounces of Blanco. Yeah, sorry, my regulars are here. They're like, oh my gosh. 2 ounces of Blanco, 1 ounce of lime juice, 1/2 to 3/4 ounces of that Jamaica syrup that we just made. And then just fill the shaker tin with some ice. I would like to preface that none of these drinks are getting served to guests here. I would not be using my hands if I was, but this is going to be for me. Loaded in the shaker tin. This one's going to be going in whatever glass you have. I'm just using a short little old-fashioned glass. Shake that up. Gonna put some ice in our cup. Fresh ice, of course. I don't personally do wet pours too often. Now for this, you're gonna, if you did use the seeds, you're gonna want to double strain it so you can get all that pepper matter out. Or unless you're into it, go for it. Me myself, I'm gonna like it a little bit strained. And that hibiscus syrup is just gonna give you the most stunning color. It's so beautiful. Definitely, this does well in a full punch cocktail if you want to make a big batch of it for a party. And I'm just going to garnish it with another slice of that pepper and then a couple of dehydrated hibiscus flowers in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll hold it up so you guys can see our lovely cocktail.
Amazing.
Hibiscus on top.
That
Go
looks
over the
great.
specs one more time. 2 ounces
Fancy.
tequila Blanco. And you could use whatever of the expressions you'd like. I just find that the Jamaica already has a lot of character as it is, and it kind of just blends well with the Blanco and citrusiness. And this cocktail is called Spicy Disposition, and it is on our new summer menu downstairs in the Speakeasy.
Very cool.
So everybody come to Corona Del Mar.
Yes.
It's not
I
that
mean-
far. We can drive.
It's not. I want to go to San Diego, so maybe we'll do a little switcheroo.
You could come down here and make it for us. We have Jamaica
yes,
down
that'd be
here too.
I would love to. I love San Diego.
That's fantastic, Simone.
Mine's got some heat on it, but it's good. But the Jamaica it's really, I don't know how to describe it. I like grew up eating it. I always just call it juicy because it's just just juicy, but not in like an apple juicy type of way. All right.
Now, when you're making your old fashioned, what kind of bitters do you usually use with the añejo or the reposado when you make those with the tequila?
With the Anejo, I was going to bring bitters out, but I was looking over the email I sent and I noticed I forgot to put bitters. With this one, I usually use an orange or a lime bitter, or even if you have a grapefruit bitter.
Good.
I found that Angostura can be a little bit overpowering just because there are a lot of bittering agents in it.
Right.
And I really want to taste the Anejo because that's what I'm using in my old fashioned or Manhattan usually. But I try not to add too much. But there's no wrong way to do it.
Cool.
Is everybody ready to make the second cocktail, or should I wait a little bit? Super easy.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
We finished our first virtual cocktail.
I know we've got a lot of fans that are watching that are salivating as well.
good.
So yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you to all those guys and ladies who are commenting. If you have any questions
Jordan.
for either Kirk or Simone,
Yeah,
please make sure you comment and we'll put them up on the screen for them.
definitely. So I put this a little higher so hopefully you guys can see it. We're going to be doing Sweet Nothings, which is another cocktail from our summer menu. All three of the cocktails I listed on here are going to be on our summer menu down here, and they're all super delicious. Obviously, this is going to be my play on a Manhattan. I put in the recipe notes 2 ounces of añejo to 1 ounce, 3/4 to 1 ounce of sweet vermouth if you have it. I just find that most people have that in their home bar, or you can use a dark amaro, which is going to be my personal favorite. Any dark amaro like Braulio. I'm using the Lazzaroni Amaro, which is going to be from Italy. It's just a little bit more bitter. It's not going to be as sugary viscous as sweet vermouth, but sweet vermouth works just as fine. And then for this, you're just going to put 1 ounce.
So 3/4 of the sweet vermouth or 1 ounce of the Amaro of the Amaro.
Yes, 3/4 to 1 ounce. Yeah. If you're using
Okay.
sweet vermouth, I would say probably err on the side of 3/4 to 1/2 ounce, just so you could always taste it and see where your palate kind of resides. I'm going to put a full ounce of the dark Amaro because I like it a little bit bitter.
Awesome. Would Fernet work on that? As the Amaro?
I think maybe I'm breaking up or you're breaking up. Can't hear quite that well. Stirring, I like to go about 30 ways clockwise and 30 ways counterclockwise, just to like a really, really cold and well chilled.
Hopefully lost you.
She'll come back. So 30 ways clockwise, 30 ways counterclockwise. I got the clockwise down, the counterclockwise not so good.
So apparently we have Simone has dropped out, but Kirk, what are you making over there? Is that just a margarita? Or?
No, this is the cocktail that she was making. Right.
Oh, okay.
So, but what I did with mine is I did mine with the sweet vermouth.
Hey, welcome back, Simone.
Sure. I died out a little bit there, but I'm back, stronger than ever. So once you're done stirring that, I'm gonna use maybe because I like small things, dainty things. I'm actually gonna use what we would consider a shot glass here, or a Sazerac glass. You can choose to put a little bit of ice on this. I personally actually don't. I like just to drink it in a short glass, no ice. And this should be ready to go.
I'm actually going to try it both ways, Simone.
Looks like
technical difficulties.
Oh, that looks amazing.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Simone,
can you hold that up again?
Simone has done hers with the Amaro. This one is with the sweet vermouth. And
I don't know if it's my
hers,
connection that's bad, but sorry if anyone's getting break.
I think hers is probably going to have a little darker flavor, a little darker color, just because of the Amaro versus the vermouth, and also the glass.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Just really good. You still taste the añejo on the back end if like you're not like putting too much vermouth. Unless you wanted to do a 1-to-1, that's also really good. Still very balanced, but you get that hit of vanilla on the very back of your palate, and then you even got a big rock.
And for those of you who want the big rock, there you go. So, salute.
And then for those of you guys, she sent me over the recipe or the ingredients earlier. So I'll be publishing that on menwhoblog.com. So look for it, if not tonight, because we're drinking tequila, and I don't know how much productivity I'll be able to do tonight. But definitely by tomorrow morning, it will be up on the on the website. Thank you, guys.
Well, you know what they say, that tequila has a stimulant quality to it, so you may get a lot of work done tonight, James.
Let's hope so.
So is this a
what kind of work?
Yeah,
hey. So is this a sativa tequila then?
It's a hybrid, I'd say.
Okay.
Very mellow, not couch potato, just cruising.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna pump out this last cocktail pretty quick for you guys, just because it's getting a little crazy, and it's gonna get a lot louder in about 10 minutes. So for this one, it's gonna be fresh mint. This is called verano, which means summer in Spanish. I was inspired by a South Side. I'm also a big gin lover. So this is going to be a bunch of fresh muddled mint. Like when I say a bunch, I mean like a bunch. You want this cocktail to be bright green and vibrant and look healthy, even though it's partially healthy with all these screen in it.
Oh, what a great smell, though.
So again,
holy schmolies.
Yeah.
Same concept again with the muddling. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Sorry if you cannot.
We can hear you.
Muddling the bunch. I do want to kind of pulse it until like almost a paste, because I want it to be release all that color and essential oil goodness. All right, and then to this I'm gonna add this is gonna get the cordial. So whatever citrus liqueur you have is fine. I say citrus liqueur just because we have Contro, but we also have like a kumquat liqueur that we have in stock here. We have a blood orange one as well. I'm using the Salerno blood orange liqueur. If I'm being honest, all citrus liqueur
Oh. Well, that was always good when you're like, on the phone. Hey, I'm live.
All good. Now I don't know this recipe, guys, so I can't continue on this one.
Yeah.
So
Back.
all right,
There we go. We're back.
there she is.
Okay. Citrus liqueur, we already have our muddled mint in there, so this will act as our sweetener in this cocktail. If you'd like to add more agave, definitely do it to taste at the end, but this is going to be our main sweet factor in this. So this is going to get about 3/4 of an ounce to 1 ounce, depending on how sweet you like it in there. 1 ounce of lime. That's usually my golden rule for any like cocktail I make, regardless of the spirits. It's going to be 2 ounces spirit to 1 ounce citrus to 3/4 sweetener. Always a good full ounce of that. And then we have our lime juice. Perfect. And then it's going to get 2 ounces of the Reposado. Maybe a little more for good measure.
I like your style, Simone.
I know. Angel share. Just fill my glass with ice. You can put it in whatever glass you like. I just have the luxury of being at my home or my work bar, so I got a lot of options for that for today.
Simone, are there any secrets to shaking the cocktail?
Shake it like no one's looking. You don't like have gusto with it. Because you want to, like, for me, it's like I remember being so scared when I first started bartending that, oh my gosh, people are going to actually look at me shake. And I was like absolutely mortified. But you got to get a good hard shake on the cocktail if you really want that ice to break up, dilute. So you got to get in there. There's no wrong way to shake. As long as the product is still a chilled cocktail, it's all gravy.
Well, I gotta say, I always hate this moment in the shows because the cocktail shaker, Simone's doesn't sound too bad, but holy heck, Kirk, yours just sounds like
Listen,
that's just
It's
awful with
syncopated rhythm for
the
Kirk,
speakers.
definitely.
I spent a lot of years working for a vodka company, and the greatest sound in the world is a shaker that is shaking a cocktail or a martini, right? Because you can hear it everywhere in the restaurant. So without a doubt. And I had a friend of mine from Vegas that said, no matter what you do when you shake your cocktail, put a smile on your face because it's not as good if you're not smiling for that cocktail that you're giving to somebody.
That's right.
You know what the other good sound is a cash register.
Yes, it is.
Good too.
Although a swipe or whatever they call it, the little white terminals where you just swipe your cards, doesn't have quite the same
not quite the same
sound.
Look at that.
Oh, nice.
That looks beautiful.
What a color that is. See, Simone's got the right highball. Simone's got the highball.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put some fresh mint in there as a garnish.
Oh,
and
that's
gonna
good.
be Verano. Summer. Perfect summer cocktail, aptly named. Nice and refreshing. You have to be a lover of mint to like it, but even if you're not a lover of mint, I think it could turn.
Who doesn't like mint?
That's really.
And people don't like a lot of stuff out here. It's very surprising. But there's always a way to skirt them. Usually how my manager and I work, we ask guests, what flavors are you into? What flavors don't you like? And we usually listen to what they don't like, and then we'll usually make them an exact cocktail with what they thought they didn't like. And then usually they'll end up liking it. Like expanding their palate by force. But they always like it, so it's okay.
I'll tell you what, I will never go back and drink a mojito ever again after having that cocktail.
I bet that is
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. So
good. The
those
citrus
are
liqueur adds a
fantastic.
little bit. Thank you. Well, this was fun.
Those are really good.
I'm really enjoying the Anejo, but man, that cocktail sounds really tasty too.
If only I could have expedited shipped it to you guys. That would have been fun.
Now, do you guys do takeout cocktails up there? At
What was
CDM, at CDM, do you do takeout cocktails? To go cocktails?
Oh, I think.
Are you doing the takeout cocktails with the dinners to go, Simone?
I think I'm still breaking up, and I'm like not getting any of like the phrases that he was saying. Unfortunately, I know I heard something about CDM.
And
Can
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit better now.
Awesome. Are you guys doing takeout cocktails with the dinners to go? Nope, she didn't get it.
I don't know if it's just.
Okay, well,
I have
the
a feeling
good
it's just my
news is
Wi-Fi.
we can.
I cannot hear anything.
The good news is we can hear her.
James, we'll find out. How's that? We can post it.
And Kirk, you're in OC too, right?
I am. I'm in Orange County, so I'm fortunate to be only about right now with the traffic, probably 45 minutes from you guys.
Nice. Yeah, I think that with the current traffic.
Right. Exactly.
I think our Wi-Fi here has run its course for me because it's just shotting out now. So, if it somehow clicks back in, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm gonna have to dip out just because this isn't really anybody, and also my manager is glaring at me like I need to get to work.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you all so much. James, Tom, Mike, John, it was great meeting all of you. Happy
you.
Friday, definitely, and thanks for tasting along with us.
Simone, I'll see
Cheers.
you next week.
Salute.
So she is absolutely fantastic, and the creativeness that they have is fabulous. You have a lot of things in their menu that they have at CDM that you can order off their menu, but the greatest thing is to walk in and say, I like this, and this in a flavor profile, and let them go to town. You'll get absolutely great cocktails from them. So
is that a Mexican restaurant or a seafood restaurant or what is it?
It's not. It's a little bit of American fare, probably leaning more towards seafood, but a little bit more fine dining, kind of a smaller place, those kind of things. So, but I'd say it probably leans more towards seafood. So
kind of coastal California type.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. So, but
excellent.
She's fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed having her on.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. What questions can I answer about Prospero or the tequila or anything else?
I know you mentioned it was available at like Total Wine & More. Is it in specs by chance?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
I know the guys had a meeting with them. Mike, I can get back to you and let you know.
Cool. Yeah, it's just a big local place out here that we go to a lot.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So them and a couple other places in Texas, as I remember.
Yeah.
So are you in Dallas?
I'm in Bryan College Station. So
okay.
Perfect. I'm just north of Houston. So
awesome. Yeah, I'll send some info and James can post it, or I'll send it to you directly.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Which would be awesome.
Nobody at Texas A&M drinks tequila.
No, not at all. It's strictly a hardworking school. No one does any partying around here at all.
Seeing as I grew up in Oklahoma, I probably shouldn't do this. I'll probably do this, right?
I've been learning all the Texas football culture. It's been a crash course. I'm originally from California myself, so
right.
Learning all of the rivalries and things like that has been a big fun experience here. Especially even schools you don't play anymore, you still hate them. So
right, yeah. Football is very specific and very particular there. So for sure,
yeah, definitely.
So without a doubt. I'm glad you guys like the tequila. I got some really good comments from you guys today on the on the way the flavors and things like that I picked up out of this that you guys actually picked up for us.
And I have no idea what this means, but my guess is it's probably something in relation to your hand signal.
Could be. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to ask Apollo.
Hopefully it's not something rude. I just assumed it was a football thing.
No, it's not. Knowing Apollo, absolutely not. So he is a friend. So, without a doubt.
You never know, because I go through this list of these comments that are posted and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, no. Oh, there's a fan.
Yep.
And sometimes you can't tell if someone's trolling or not. So definitely thank you for contributing, Apollo.
Auburn. There you
Auburn
go.
Tigers. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now he's going to make me say it. Roll Tide. Because I'm not sure if LC told you guys that on the last call, but we don't say Roll Tide. We say Roll Clyde.
We did.
That's awesome. So that is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, we're very, very fortunate that we've got a great family to work with Prospero, just as we do with Clyde Mays, and just as we do reviving McConnell's for the company as well. I think Stella makes absolutely fabulous juice. We've all been tasting tequila for a long time. I think this is absolutely some of the best, and there's a softness that she puts on it that is, to me, makes it very, very inviting for anybody, to come in, and we're ready to see some better things, and not better things, but more things happening, with Prospero Tequila.
So what are the trends in the tequila market? And obviously, we went through a phase of every celebrity in America decided they wanted a tequila brand, and some were good, some weren't so good, and
right,
kind of I feel like that wave has come back down. But what's the new trend? Where are people going?
I think that the celebrity trend is not over. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we're partnered with Rita Ora, who is a fantastic singer, great artist, great actress. She was in Pikachu. She's got some other movies that are coming up. Absolutely tremendous for us.
So you're going after kids movie stars?
No, legal drinking age and up. That's it.
Prospero, the tequila for kids.
Yeah, no. So, but I think what you're really seeing in all of that is that, people that are really working the brands, and the celebrities that are working the brands are getting a lot of traction. And the tequila category is growing tremendously. I mean, up 18%, I think, right now, topping 22 million cases here in the U.S. And it's one of the few spirits that's growing across the world tremendously. Right. So we're extremely happy about that. And that's one of the things, when you look at this, you look at the tequila category, you look at the Irish category, you look at the bourbon category, those three categories are at the top of the growth markets with the highest growth curves that there are in our business. Right. And we're in all three of them. So, so we feel very fortunate. And a little bit of that is by design.
So I know we're talking about tequila, but I know at the same time, earlier today, you said you wanted to kind of talk about the Irish market a little bit. So I figured that was a good segue there to tack on a few minutes. So the Irish market seems like it, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it was very much it's there, but St. Patrick's Day, and
right.
and that kind of goes away. But it seems like in the last 3 or 4 years that it's come back as far as being able to not just be a Irish whiskey, but actually just another whiskey that sits there alongside Scotch and bourbon.
Right. And I think, when you still look at the category, the category is still dominated by one brand. And then you've got all these players that have come up. And 5 or 6 years ago, they started the revolution in Dublin, if you will, where, you had some guys that started the first distillery that have been built in 125 years there. And now you've got, I think, 20 distilleries that are within Dublin. And I may be off on that subject, but you used to get your juice from 3 different distilleries, and that was all you got in Ireland. Right. Now you've got almost 150 distilleries that are licensed in order to produce juice. Oh, right. Wow. So the category is going to blow up. You mentioned earlier about, asking about the barrel treatments. I see the Irish whiskey guys playing with that barrel treatment innovation more than anybody else. Port barrels, Cabernet barrels, Sauternes barrels, sherry barrels, all that stuff, right? And that's really where the high end is and where it's going, I think, with Irish whiskey. We're very fortunate because we've got a brand in McConnell's that was the first Irish whiskey brand ever on record. There were a couple of distilleries that were producing before McConnell's was started, but they never attached a brand to it. Right, so they never branded any of the whiskey.
Go back to?
We started in 1776, an absolutely great year for the U.S.
Wow.
So, and James and John McConnell were doing the majority of their business here in the U.S. And when Prohibition hit, they lost everything. They'd suffered through a fire in Belfast where their distillery was in 1902. And I have some, we have some artifacts of, there was a retailer, and I'm drawing a blank on the name now, in San Francisco, that was selling fifths of McConnell's for 95 cents a bottle. right? And so they lost everything at Prohibition, and we've decided to revive the legend. We launched this year here in the U.S. just before all of this great craziness that we're dealing with right now. So we'll probably end up with a little bit of a relaunch. But when you look at this, this package that I showed you earlier, this is a very similar package to what the package was in 1776. And we've adorned it here. The McConnell's logo is exactly the same. And then we've just kind of dressed up the bottle quite a bit as well. So you will see more to come on this. And the Irish whiskey category is the fastest growing category that there is here in the U.S., right now. So, I think the fact that we're being able to see whiskeys that are going to come across in the next few years from all these different distilleries, we may start seeing a lot of different nuances from the Irish whiskey category outside of just the barrel treatments and some of those things the guys are doing.
Fantastic.
So yeah, we're excited. We're going to put our distillery for McConnell's in the Crumlin Road prison in Belfast. So we're taking over a wing of the prison. So you talk about stories and authenticity that we've talked about with Prospero and McConnell's and also with Clyde May with LC when he was on. We certainly have that here as well. So which is great.
When are we doing our global road trip or global? We're going to hop in the in the Kirk jet and we'll leave Orange County and go down to Mexico, then stop in Alabama on our way over to Ireland.
I'll tell you what, I will call Laura tomorrow on Saturday and tell her to start planning it. Because I'm ready, and we might have to go to Australia just to make sure we're tasting some product live.
If we have to.
I don't want to twist anybody's arm, but we may have to.
Now, when's the distillery that's going into the former prison opening up? Is that?
I believe we're going to be finished with that before the end of the year. The great thing is, Tom, is that's been going for long enough that our pot stills are already done.
Oh, great.
Right? So we're just waiting to install the pot stills. So we'll produce this year, probably get into juice 5 years from now because we're using a five-year juice. Currently, we've got contracts for the next 10 or 15 years with Great Northern to supply our juice for us right now.
Cool.
So so it's going to be a lot of fun because the Irish Tourism Board has not even come close to pushing the prison or pushing Belfast from a tourism standpoint. Right. So it's great. They had, I think, 250,000 people there last year, and across the street is the courthouse. Excuse me, which a hotel company bought it, turned it into a hotel. Right, and you can take the underground tunnel from the courthouse to the prison where they used to escort the prisoners over to the prison to go take a tour of the prison. So, which will be fantastic. Yeah. So a lot of fun.
So the prison is a tourism destination on its own then, as far as tours and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yep. So, and there's one they'll leave historical. There's one that they'll do, other Irish things in one of the wings. And then the third wing will be our distillery.
So Carlos says, just drink it. So Carlos, we always listen to our fans, but my glass is empty right now, so I have to go refill. So give me a second.
No cheers
guys.
on an empty glass.
So cheers, Carlos. Cheers, Kirk.
Cheers, Carlos.
Cheers, everybody else.
Yes.
Most importantly, cheers, Stella, and cheers, Simone. So
yes, nicely done.
Absolutely. Salute.
Salute.
That's a great. Right. Now I have to say cheers in 3 languages. Cheers, salute, and sláinte.
Sláinte is that Irish?
That's Gaelic? Irish. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I tell you what, guys, it's been a great show. I'm going to hit the end broadcast button now, but I'd love to continue some of our conversations offline with you guys. So hopefully you guys stick around. For the rest of you guys, make sure you check out menublog.com tomorrow morning. I will have the recipes up that Simone shared earlier. And as always, make sure you go check out prosperotequila.com, where you can find the store locator on there, as well as more information about the product. So thank you, guys. Have a great night. Have an awesome weekend.